Welcome back, aliens. My name is Navin Reddy, and in this video, we'll talk about how do we run Deepseek model in the machine, with local machine, which is the open source version of Deepseek, and we'll try to connect that with Spring AI. Again, I will talk about Spring AI in some time, but let's see how do you get your Deepseek and how do you run it on local. Now, first of all, if you want to run this open source model, you need a framework. And one of the most famous framework for this is Ollama, and which we are going to use. Now, if you go to the Deepseek website, and this is what, in fact, we have seen in the earlier video as well, if you have seen that. Otherwise, Deepseek is a new AI model which has this amazing benchmark compared to the OpenAI. I mean, of course, it's not very good. It's just that it's trying to compete, but the cost is way less, and it's open source. Okay, not like OpenAI, which is a closed source. Okay, now you can try Deepseek on their web, which is your web interface, and you can ask questions. And maybe if you have went through some post or some memes, people are talking about you can't ask certain questions to Deepseek. Example, if you want to ask 2 plus 2, it knows what the answer is, and you will get the answer for sure if the server is not down. And they are facing some cyber attacks recently. Okay, it's taking 2 plus 2 is taking some time. Okay, so there's a huge load on the server. Or maybe they're running out of money. Not sure. Something is wrong. But yeah, it's just doing some search, right? By the time it comes, you can ask different questions and it will answer you. But I have seen some posts where they're talking about asking some questions, because this is a model built in China, and since this is a web interface, they have to follow some guidelines from their country, and makes sense. They have to run the company, and it's belong to. So they have to listen to the government, right? So if you ask certain questions which are in the conflict of their country, it will simply say, I can't help you there, or I'm limited to this knowledge, or whatever response it will give you. So one of the question is regarding the Indian states. There are multiple states in India, and one of the state is Arunachal Pradesh, which is kind of conflict for India, China, and it avoids that question. And if you ask regarding someone very important from China, it will again give you, say, I can't help you there. But again, that's a web interface, right? But what if you run it on local? And let's see what happens when you ask those questions in local. So I will open my terminal, and I will show you how do you get this on machine, but let me just show you how it works. First of all, you need to get Ollama, and I have that. And you can see I got 2 models of Deepseek here. I mean, two versions, 8B and 32B. So 32B is, of course, huge. It's 19 GB. Again, I think this is not a full version. And 8 is something you can run on most of the machine. But let me try to run 8B first, and let's see what happens. So I will just run this 8B. I will say Deepseek R1, and I'll mention 8B. I want to run that. And when you run this, it will just take some time to load. And once you have it, you can ask question. Example, you can ask 2 plus 2. It will give the answer. It will do the thinking, and it will reply you. That was quick. Compared to the web version, it is, okay, there was something wrong, and it says server is busy. But let me try once again on the web. By the time, okay, the entire website is down, looks like. And that's what happens when you got a lot of hype and everyone started exploring Deepseek, and it's down. Okay, it was a great time of getting the website down while recording a video. Let me try now. I think it came back. No, still creating issues. Anyway, I will go back to my local, and here I will ask question. I will say, do you know about Telusko? And if I say enter, you can say I'm not familiar with Telusko because I'm running the 8B, and it has some issue with the data. But if I say, do you know about Telusko YouTube channel? And before making this video, I was testing it, and it was giving some weird response for Telusko, that it's a Telugu cuisine or something weird. But it was not able to detect what Telusko means. But now if I search for Telusko YouTube channel, it says, okay, it seems like you might be referring to the YouTube channel named Telusko. However, without the context, we're still not able to find it. So that's because I'm running the 8B model here, and it's still not back. Okay, but let me ask about who is Xi Jinping. And yeah, so it replies here. But if you try the same question on the web, if once it is start working, you will not see the answer coming on the web, but on the local it gives you, because that's an open source model, you can run it. But yes, there are still some questions regarding the Winnie the Pooh and yeah, you got the context, right? So if you ask those questions, it will still say, I can't help you there. So you try it out, and how do you run this? That's what we are going to see now. Now, if you want to get this models, it's very easy. You go to Deepseek. First of all, you can explore Deepseek and you can get the client app. But if you want the open source model, this is where you have to search for Ollama. So Ollama, Deepseek, go to the Ollama website and okay, not the coder, but R1. So this one. So go to Ollama and search for Deepseek R1, this one. And when you go there, you have multiple options and you can get the full version if you want. But let's say if I want to get a 7B, which I don't have in my machine, I can just get it from here. But you can run this command only if you have Ollama installed on your machine. And to do that, you basically go here to download the Ollama. I will just click here on the new window, and depending upon which version you have, Mac, Linux, or Windows. Let's say if you have Windows, you can click for download for Windows, and it will give you the download. Now, since I already have in this machine, I will just close the download. It's very easy. You just open that, say next, submit, and finish. You will get the setup running. And in the tray, you will see this logo, Ollama logo here, which means it's running. Then once you got that in your machine, what you can do is you can try this command. You can say Ollama list. Now, by default, if you just download Ollama, you will not see these options because this is something you have to pull to make it available in your machine. Okay. And to make it available, what you do is you go back to your Deepseek R1 on Ollama and copy this command. In fact, run will run it. Maybe just want to pull it. So you will say Ollama pull instead of run, and you can mention the version. So Deepseek -R1:, and you can mention, so in fact, you will get it from here itself. This is what I've typed, right? Instead of run, I'm just saying pull because I don't want to run it now. I just want to pull it, but I will say 7B. And when you say enter, it will start downloading it. And depending upon the size, it will take different time, depending upon your internet speed. But when I tried to download 32B, I started downloading, went somewhere, came back, and then it finished the download. Okay, so this is how you basically pull it. Okay, so I will just stop it is because I already have two versions. I don't want to download again. But once you see those in the list, again, you type this command, which is Ollama list, not pull. So again, when you say list, you will see one option, whichever you downloaded. And if you want to run those, you have to say Ollama run, and then you mention which specific one you want to run. This time I want to run the 32B or maybe 8B because last time we ran 8B, right? Let's run 32B. And when you do that, you can ask question. In fact, everything will run on your local machine. In fact, just before the video, I searched about it. Now, when I was running 8B, and since the GPU in this machine is 3060 and it has 12 GB of dedicated memory, but if you want to run the 32B, it needs at least, I think, 24 GB or minimum to 12 GB. That's what I've read somewhere. And it will not use your GPU power. It will use CPU power when you run this. Example, if I ask, do you know about Telusko? Now I'm asking 32 GB, 32B, not GB. And you can see it says yes. But if you see the maximum usage, which is happening for the CPU. Now that's something I got to know today itself. I've been exploring AI from a long time, but I don't know why I missed it. And if you have some more clarification on this, if you want to share, do that in the comments. I want to know more about this, why 32B uses more CPU and less GPU. But if I do the same thing with, and if you want to exit this, you can say bye. Let's say if you do the same thing with 8B, and if you ask this question, do you know about Telusko? Whatever answer it will give you, okay? But you can see it is using the GPU more than the CPU, okay? I think this has something to do with the VRAM it required to run. And yeah, but at least now you know how to run this, and whatever question you want to ask, however risky that question is, you can ask your local and it will not stop you most of the time, but you can try it out. Okay, server is still busy. They need to work on this. Anyway, now, so you know how to run this on local, and you can ask questions, and whatever question you have, it also does the thinking. If you ask a mathematical question, if x is equal to 5, find x to 4 minus 98. Okay, randomly I'm generating this. Okay, so you can see it will give you some step-by-step things, what happened there and things. I'm not sure if the answer is right, but yeah, we'll accept it. Okay, that's what we do. Okay, so anyway, the point is now we want to connect this with the Spring AI. Now, what is Spring AI? So if you want to make amazing applications, the enterprise application with, most of the companies are using Java with Spring Boot. And if you want to integrate the AI feature into your application, okay, see, using AI is nowadays very simple. If you want to use a chat model, you can use ChatGPT or Deepseek and whatever models you have. But if you want to integrate those intelligent features in your existing application, how will you do it? Now, that's where we got different frameworks for it. Example, if you are into ecosystem of Python or JavaScript, you might be using LangChain there. In the Java world, of course, you can use LangChain, but then there will be external API calls and stuff, which will increase latency. And somewhere you need multiple skill set to achieve that. But since you know Java, you know Spring, then why to learn different language? So we got something called Spring AI inbuilt in Spring. It's a part of the Spring umbrella, Spring projects, and you can use it. So it acts as a framework or a tool between the AI features and your application. Now, of course, we don't have enough time to actually type the entire code. So what I have with me is the code. So I will show you. So this is the project, and you will find the link in description, the GitHub link. And let me show you what we did here. Now, first of all, this project has a UI as well to give you that feel that, yeah, we are talking to the chat application. So let's say we got this project here, and I'm going to run this project on the, I'll just copy this path, new terminal. Okay, so I'm going to run npm run dev. I already did install, so it should run. And if I open this, you can see this is the simple chatbot, okay, Telusko AI chat. And if I ask a question, 2 + 2, and it will say sending, but it will not work. Fail to fetch is because the backend is not working. So let's run the backend. But before I run the backend, I want to show you something, what we did here. See, using Spring AI, basically you can connect with any AI server. It's not just related to Ollama, which is running on local, or OpenAI or Gemini. You can change the model whichever you want, and you can pass the API key. Okay, so if you're using OpenAI and if you want to use the cloud model, basically, they only have one option. You have to get the key, right? And you have to insert this key in the application properties. So this is where you can mention the key for OpenAI. So you can get it from Azure as well, or you can search for OpenAI key, and you can pass the key here, okay, if you're using OpenAI. But since we are not using OpenAI here, we are using a local, so you can mention this Spring AI Ollama chat options model, and you can mention whichever model you're going to use. But how do you make it work? So let's say if you want to build this project from scratch, let's go to start.spring.io, and here, of course you can enter this detail, but let's say if you want to get this from start, of course you will need web because you're building a web application. And if you want to use Spring AI, you can search for AI, and there are multiple options. If you want to use OpenAI, you choose this. If you want to use Anthropic, you can use this. Mistral, you can use this. And if you want to use, in fact, for OpenAI, we have this. This is Azure OpenAI. But if you want to use Ollama, you search for Ollama, okay? And then you got this dependency. And when you explore, when you explore, you will get this. So that's your Spring AI Ollama Spring Boot Starter, okay? This is a part of Spring now, and you can use it. Now, the beauty about using Spring AI is even if you are changing your AI models, you don't have to change your code. So it creates that abstraction layer so that every time you got a new model, you don't have to completely change your code, which will increase the time or the task. So it's better to use abstraction, which you get in Spring AI. Now, what kind of abstraction I'm talking about? So first of all, let's see, we got this dependency here. As you can see here, we got Spring AI Ollama Spring Boot Starter. And in the code, if you look at this, nowhere we are talking about Ollama or any AI chat model. It simply says, okay, I want to use a chat client. This is a part of Spring AI. You can see here. And nowhere we are mentioning which chat client or chat model we are going to use. Basically, it will fetch it from the application properties, and you're good to go. So in future, if you want to change it to OpenAI, just add one line here, and you're done. Okay, it's that simple. This is the kind of abstraction you get with Spring AI. And So what we have done is, whenever you send a request from the client, if you remember, this is the client, the UI. And when you click on send, basically the request goes to the server using the controller. We are handling it here. And whatever text you have passed, you will get that text here. And then you can use the chat client from Spring AI to send the prompt and make a call and get the content, and you are going to return that content. Okay, that's what we are doing. Okay, now the backend is not working, so we'll run this. So I will just go back here and run. And let me know in the chat if you want Spring AI videos in detail. I mean, at least step by step, not in detail, but at least step by step. And now if I go back to my UI, and if I click on send, now it is sending the request to the chat model. If you want to verify, look at this spike. Okay, I'm waiting for the spike. Did we got any error? No error. And yeah, it's running. It's running. Yeah, now it started. Maybe it was loading in the RAM. Now the problem with 32-base, it takes a lot of time, depending upon your machine speed. Now I'm not using a very powerful machine. This is i9, and I bought this way back. This 10th generation i9. And GPU is also 3060. And let me know if you have a better system in case. You don't have to buy one. If you get a better system, let me know the stats there, how much time it took for you. And you can see it says this. But before I ask my other question, I will go back to the lower version of this. I will go back in the application properties, and I will say this is 8B and relaunch, because using 32B for a difficult question or complex question will take a lot of time. And now I will ask, do you know? Hopefully it will know. Or maybe I will say, explain abstraction in Java. And now it will start thinking. So it will take a lot of time, okay, depending upon your speed, machine speed. It is loading the model, still loading. And you can see it is using the GPU now. So when I use 8B, it uses GPU properly, and we got the answer. Okay, so these are basically, it runs on your local machine and you don't have to pay for it. But even if you're paying, Deepseek is much cheaper compared to OpenAI. But if I ask the same question to 32B, it's fun, you know. I like to do this weird stuff with the machine. Do you also do this? You know, whenever you get a machine, maybe a mobile phone or a laptop, we want to test it, how far we can take it. Maybe by playing a game, the high intensity games, or using something which will consume the system config. Okay, let's see the same question, but with 32B. And in terms of hallucination, it does. For a few questions, it's not doing it now, but it does that. Okay, so I've sent, it is loading the model, 32B, it will start processing, and it will take some time. So if it takes more than 15 seconds, I will stop the video. Okay, and maybe you can try it on your machine, or maybe I will just go out and take a sip of coffee and come back. So yeah, by the time it is happening, I want to talk about more things. If you don't want to run Deepseek on your machine, you can use the API platform here. If you can see, there's an option. But the problem is they have some issues. So it says our website is under maintenance. Yesterday when I tried, I think I saw the page where you can create the API, but now it's under maintenance. There were some attacks, and maybe they're not able to handle the load, the amount of load we are getting, because everyone wants to try out. And imagine if the world is trying out a particular server, the amount of hits is taking. I think we are good. I don't have to wait for it. You know that it will give you the answer. But I wanted to show you how this Spring AI, and I will give you the code to try it on your machine. And you don't have to change anything because there's no API key, nothing. The only thing you have to change is, depending upon which model you are using, just mention that here. So if you're using 7B, just mention 7B, and it should work. And let me know your thoughts on this in the comments if you liked it. And if you want me to make more videos on Spring AI, I will try to do that for sure. Still thinking. Okay. Maybe I will ask my editor to put the screenshot at the end. Okay, so thank you so much everyone for watching this, and let me know your thoughts in the comments. Make sure you like, subscribe, and keep watching the videos. Bye-bye. So finally we got a response after waiting for more than 5 minutes, and maybe that's the limitation of my machine here. And this is the input when you sent, so it started thinking, and so basically it does the thinking behind the scene, and then you get your response after the thinking. And I'm looking for the thinking end tag where it start answering. So this point is still thinking, and then that's the answer. And this is the answer from the 32B version.